We're joined from Moscow by the visiting lecturer at the Higher School of Economics, Ramy Elkalyouby. Welcome to Q and thank you for joining us. So firstly, let's start off by asking, what is the rationale behind Trump's decision to impose a universal 10% tariff and higher duties on certain countries?
Actually, Trump is on one hand a businessman, more than a politician, but on the other hand he is a socialist and conservator and rather unglobal, non-solidary with other countries in cases of trade. And he sees that the strength of the United States is in creating jobs and in the hegemony of the US dollar. And this is actually, these tariffs are new measures of protectionism, and actually we all remember that during his first term, actually Trump launched a trade war against China. So now this trade war became more broadened and includes more countries than before.
Okay, so how do these tariffs compare to the previous protectionist measures under the Trump administration, like the aluminum and steel tariffs previously?
Actually, I don't think this will have a big impact because actually the United States is a country of institutions, not of a rule of a person. So with time there will be some more measures, or there might be appeal in some measures which might not be which might be controversial with some agreements that the United States have signed. So on the long term, I think it will stabilize, and due to Trump's trade war against China and the United States remain key trade partners. So I think the situation will be repeated this time as well.
Okay, now obviously because of the sweeping tariffs, there's been a lot of pushback, including in China. How do you interpret China's strong opposition to these tariffs? What countermeasures might Beijing take towards these tariffs?
Actually, China is in front of a digital challenge because China is ambitious to become the first world economy even in terms of nominal GDP in this century. So, and to achieve this ambitious goal, China needs to develop its trade. Now China has a trade of $250 billion with Russia, more than $1.5 trillion with the West, including the United States and the European Union. So, and of course, in case of if China loses a part of the American market, its ambitions will be influenced. So I think at the end of the day, there will be some compromise between Washington and Beijing.
Okay, well, stock markets across the world, specifically in Asia, have reacted negatively to this news. What does this signal about investor confidence towards the global economic stability, rather?
First of all, the Trump's measures, they affect negatively the confidence of investors in the U.S. economy. And now we can notice that the U.S. dollar is at a very low level in front of the euro, so which reflects that these measures make investors worried and hesitating before going to the United States market or before investing in the U.S. dollars. But on the other hand, of the long term, the United States have proved that they are the largest economy, the country of institutions. So, and I think this is the lack of confidence from the part of the investors is rather a situative and emotional effect rather than a fundamental one.
Okay, thank you so much from Moscow. That was the visiting lecturer at the Higher School of Economics, Ramy Elkalyouby. Thank you for joining us here on Q News.